It was discovered I had the condition when I was still a baby. And growing up with the condition, it has not been easy. It has been very difficult, especially for the last 3 years. I spent 2 Christmas in the hospital, and it wasn't funny because everybody was going on, living happy, and I was here in pains. It wasn't easy at all, but each passing day, I get the strength to live, and God has been helping me. Being a sickler doesn't make me less a human, and it doesn't make me want to live less of anybody else. Having sickle cell doesn't mean I'll soon die, or maybe I won't be able to live up to expectations or to the age God wants me to live. But it's just for us to take care of ourselves and do the right thing to keep us in good health. When I was still growing up, I was a very plumpy child, and most people didn't know I had the sickle cell until the last 3 years, when it began to show up, and I felt sick frequently, going in and out of the hospital almost 5 times in a year. And that was when I came to understand that, yes, this thing is really dealing with me. And of recent, we had to go for a surgery where we were told it's in our cheeks and we have to undergo a surgery to remove it. So I was told mine wasn't there anymore, and it has disappeared to the remaining parts of my body, and it can't be removed because I've outgrown it, and so many things came up. So growing up, I was very happy, I was fat, I was chubby, not until of recent when the disease began to show up, and everybody, though most people don't know about it except if they are being told, because some people said I don't look it. But deep down within me, I know what I feel, I know what I pass through. So having sickle cell, it's not easy. It hasn't been easy. And up till date, I'm still trying to fight the reality that I am a sickle cell, and it's not easy. We have 5 children in my family, 2 boys and 3 girls. I am the second child, and we had 3 sickle cell patients, but 1 is late. So we now have 2 people living with sickle cell and 2 people that are not sickle cell. So we are left 3 girls and a boy. The difficult part is in the aspect of education. I applied for the university, but at a point in time I felt I won't be able to continue. Even if I get the education, I might not be able to school in the university because it's so much full of stress, going up and down. So that was why I decided to look for another alternative. Even though it hasn't been easy, but the number one part where I have challenges is the aspect of my education. I'm someone who loves going to school, but with sickle cell, it has been a challenge for me in the aspect of me going to school. I could remember one of the semesters in school, I split the semester into 2. Half of it I was in the hospital and half of it I was in class. But at the end of it all, I was happy because my result came out good. So it wasn't kind of an excuse for me not to concentrate on my studies. I still made it that same semester. Though I faced a lot, but going to God, I was able to make it. But I have never given up for once. So I keep praying to God to grant me more strength to continue in that aspect. People treat me in different ways. For example, if there are activities that we're supposed to partake, they would want to keep me aside because they are afraid they don't want me to collapse or to fall sick. So discrimination, especially when I was in secondary school, I faced a lot of discriminations, and I felt like I was the worst sinner on earth. Maybe that was why God decided to give me such conditions. It has not been easy living with sickle cell, and that's why there is a lot of discrimination going on for people living with sickle cell. It hasn't been easy. The number one challenge is discrimination. I have been lucky to find friends that have stood by me. In my times of challenges, they will be there. In my times of need, they are always around to support me, to pray for me. On my own part, I have been lucky actually to get caring friends, both male and female, and they haven't find it difficult in any way to stay away from me, all because I have sickle cell. But they have been supportive, they have been helping, they've been praying for me, and I thank God because of the kind of clique of friends I have. They've been helpful. Well, most time they talk like that because they have never experienced what it means to live with sickle cell or to live with someone with sickle cell. If they can have an iota of how it feels, then I think they would have more respect for people with sickle cell, because sickle cell is not something to joke or play with. This is something that deals with the blood. So all those people saying, insulting people, walking cups, it's because they don't know how it feels. That's why they talk the way they do, and you don't have to give listening ears to such, because once you give it a thought, you feel, okay, yes, I'm not different from what people say. But if you have the positive mind to think, no, I can live beyond this, then surely you would do, because having sickle cell doesn't mean you are less a human, like I said earlier, but you will live up to expectations and you will live up to the time God really wants you to live. So having sickle cell doesn't mean, there are people with sickle cell who lived 80 and 90 years. But the fact that they have sickle cell, one has sickle cell, doesn't mean he will leave this earth before healthy ones. There are so many healthy people who have actually died. So having sickle cell doesn't mean one can't live up to the time God wants him or her to live. So most times they put age limit because they feel that sickle cell is the worst sickness on earth, and therefore someone living with it cannot exceed a particular age limit. I was told of people who wouldn't live up to 20 years, but now are 25 and above, and some even got married. So it's not something strange, but it's just that the world we live in today is so full of amazing things, and therefore people can see all sorts of things, and it's actually not fair. The fact that someone is living with sickle cell doesn't mean you should tell him he's going to die soon or he's a walking corpse. Those are heart-breaking news that someone should not be told, no matter what, because you are not the person and you don't know how the person feels. So having sickle cell doesn't mean you should be treated with disrespect, no. But you should be treated with love, with respect, and in fact that will help you keep growing and keep having more strength. So discrimination is not the best for someone living with sickle cell. As of then, when my parents got married, there was nothing like all this genotype testing and so on. They just got married and they gave birth to children till the modern times, when they came to realize, okay, this genotype and this won't be a match. But of course, it's too late. So that was where they came to give birth to us having sickle cell. So 2 AS patients, we came to discover that they cannot get married, no matter the kind of love they have for each other. Just try to prevent it, because you're giving birth to children with sickle cell, you won't forgive yourself. So as of then, there was nothing like genotype testing and so on. It's of recent that people began to know, but still, I'm amazed that people still don't heed to the doctor's advice, and they keep getting married, therefore giving birth to children who end up suffering sickle cell. It's heartbreaking most times. So I think people who want to get married should actually go for a testing to save the next generation, because it's not funny and it won't be funny either in future. So I think it's better if they try to prevent it. Love is not just enough for 2 people at risk to get married. Because if you consider now, what about the future? Now is not just it, but your future. You don't want to give birth to children who would suffer, who you would always see crying in pains. You don't want to risk that. So it's better you don't, just forget about love for now have the genotype test. If you are not compatible, then I think it's better you call off everything. Though it might be painful, but it's better to prevent the future now than to go into the future and then you keep regretting, or you think someone bewitched you, you think it's from the family. No, it's not. Forgetting that you were actually the problem. So I think it's better for two people who are in love should know of their genotypes. If they are not compatible, then they shouldn't even make that mistake, because you wouldn't want to give birth to children you would see crying in pains every day. So I think it's the best thing for them. Love is not enough. Love is not just enough, but they should go for the test. If they are okay, fine. But if they are not, because there are so many people who go against reverends and doctors' advice, saying they would pray for a miracle. There are actually people who pray while in the relationship, and God actually does do a miracle for them. But that is not an excuse for them to keep doing things that would jeopardize the future of their children. It's actually not the best. So it's better to prevent it now than have children suffering with sickle cell in the future. On my part, I have been lucky with a relationship because I have someone who actually not only loves but cares for me and is always willing to stand by me. But there are ladies who really suffer it in the aspect of relationship, whereby the guy wouldn't want to get married to them, or even if he gets married to them, there are ladies that suffer it in marriage. She's in crisis and then the husband just walk out on her, and it's not funny. She has a baby to take care of. She's facing her own challenges of crisis. So many ladies have actually gone through a lot. They have actually gone through hell in the hands of so many guys in the aspect of relationship. They wouldn't want to spend their money on a lady that will probably die soon. Those are some of the things they say. I wouldn't want to marry somebody that will die soon. So ladies especially suffer it. So what I have to say is that if you have someone that truly loves and cares for you, that alone will encourage her. But then if he doesn't want to be in the relationship, it's not by force, because you can actually live your life with or without the relationship. Besides, if you have caring parents, caring siblings, that alone is enough for you, and not to keep bothering yourself with things that will probably trigger crisis for you. So I think if someone truly loves and cares for you, it's okay. But if he doesn't, then I think you should just let him go, because if he's not meant for you, someone else who is actually meant for you will come by. So that's what I feel. I feel that people living with sickle cell shouldn't be pressurized under any circumstance to get married. If he or she wants to and feels he has the strength and the capability to get married, it's fine. But you pressurizing someone to get married is not the main thing, because it's just like if you are pushing the person and it doesn't end up well, how would you feel as the parent? So forcing your children to settle down is not the main thing, but allow them to have their strength to get better. If they can get someone who would really take care of them when they get married, it's fine. But pressurizing your children to get married is not, it's not the whole idea of it. I have actually seen ladies living with sickle cell who give birth to healthy children, beautiful and handsome children. So living with sickle cell doesn't mean you give birth to somebody that is handicapped, no. But once you are sure the husband is compatible, it's fine, because you having sickle cell doesn't mean you will give birth to children that won't be healthy. It is only when two of you are not compatible and you get married, that's when the whole problem will come up, where you end up giving birth to children living with sickle cell. But the thing of you giving birth to children that are not healthy is not true, because there are people living with sickle cell, there are ladies who are sicklers who give birth to healthy children. So there's nothing like giving birth to children with disabilities or anything like that. To those living with sickle cell out there, I know how you feel, but having sickle cell doesn't mean you should feel depressed, you should feel like killing yourself. I have seen people who if not for their parents, they would have killed themselves, they would have committed suicide. No, that's not the thing. We know what we are into, but that's not an excuse for us to do the negative. You can't, what if you end it here and you go to heaven? You have to answer to God. So living with sickle cell doesn't mean it's the end of the world for you. You have better chances of having and living a happy life. So don't feel because you have sickle cell you have to, though the sickle cell pains is not easy, it's not funny, but then that doesn't mean you should end your life because you have sickle cell. No, you have a brighter future ahead of you, and only if you can be on your knees, pray to God, He will surely see you through and you accomplish all that you wish to. So please, if you have sickle cell, it is not the end of the world. Just like HIV patients are being told, it is not the end of the world. We have better chances of living good lives, living healthy lives. And I believe God will help us to reach to that point where we actually want to. If only we can have non-governmental organizations and individual bodies who are willing to help, that alone can go a long way, because few years back we had a Cathy Life Foundation. She was really helpful by giving Sickle supplements and giving them some of the routine drugs like paludrin and folic acid. If we can have NGOs and possibly individuals who are willing to help in the aspect of awareness and also in the aspect of material things or medications to help, it will really go a long way, because so many people living with sickle cell find it hard, find it difficult to even feel. Having a sickler, even if it's just one in the family, is not easy. Talk more of having 2 or 3. So if we can have NGOs who would create more awareness, then I think it will actually go a long way, because having children who are sicklers is not easy. You always find yourself in the hospital, spending a lot of money. If only the government can give a listening ear to some of these individuals who are trying hard to see that sickle cell is, the rate of sickle cell is being reduced, then the government is one person I know who can really help in this aspect of sickle cell. They have what it takes to help, but I don't know why it seems so difficult. If only the government can come to our aid and help us, then taking awareness to some of the rural areas won't actually be a problem, because people will be informed, they will be educated about some of these things, and then the rate of sickle cell will drastically reduce, because some of the rural areas is one of the worst affected places, where you see people just living lives and getting married just the way they want. But if awareness is taken to such places, I think it will really help. And the government is one person I would want to plead to come to our aid, because so many people are really struggling hard to see that they help children with sickle cell. But if it's just one hand that is helping, it won't go far. But if 2 or more hands come together, then I think the society will be a better place and the rate of sickle cell will drastically reduce. So the government is one big body that I think would actually help in that aspect. And then some of the wealthy people we have around, they can actually help too, because there is a wealthy man who had almost 5 children living with sickle cell, but he lost all of them. And he felt depressed, so if we have the government to come to our aid, I think they would really help in the aspect of both awareness and other aspects too. My appreciation actually won't be enough to say thank you to my parents, especially my mom. My daddy works in a place where he hardly gets paid, and my mom works in a hospital. Thank God for that. At least she gives us first aid at home most times. And I personally, I usually fall sick, especially for the last 3 years. So she has really been helpful. I want to say thank you, a very big thank you to my mom, to my dad, to my siblings. I have wonderful siblings. Living with sickle cell is a whole lot of task, is a whole lot of sickness. But if you have caring parents around, if you have caring siblings, then the world will be a better place for you, and you won't even feel like Even if the doctor said you'll be dying tomorrow, you won't have anything to worry about because you have people that care so much for you. You have people that love you, people who are willing to go far no matter what, to see that you are fine. I really want to say thank you to my family, especially. They are my number one. They are so much in my heart. I cherish them because they are one big, they are my number one priority. I want to say thank you to them and also to my friends who have been helpful. Thank God for the kind of friends I have. They are lovely and I really want to appreciate them for that. My name is Nankling Dagan. I am a student with the Theological College of Northern Nigeria and I also bake. I have sickle cell. I'm a warrior. And me being a warrior means I'll fight to the end. I'll make sure I fight to the end of this. I will never give up because as far as I am alive, I have hope of being a better person. Having sickle cell doesn't mean it's the end of the world for me because even in 3 or 4 years to come, I know where I am picturing myself to be. So having sickle cell doesn't make me less of a human and it will not make me less of a human. I believe God will help me and He will see me through. My number one strength is God. There is nothing I do without mentioning God. So I so much believe in years to come, so many people won't believe Nankling is this person because I believe I will be someone great. Sickle cell will never have a limit over me because I am destined for greatness and surely I'll achieve all that I have to. I'll achieve all that God wants me to and I'll fulfill my purpose, God's willing.